Thrust. The principle is that of Newton's third law of motion. To every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. When we swim, we push water backwards and move forwards in consequence. Action, reaction, equal and opposite. To sustain this balance of action and reaction over greater ranges of speed and endurance, we need more than human muscle. We need mechanical power. To push a boat forwards through the water, we must use an engine-driven propeller to push the water backwards. It's the same with the aeroplane. The jet engine moves the aeroplane forwards by pushing backwards a stream of hot gases with great velocity. The light aeroplane uses a gentler method. An engine-driven propeller pushes air backwards. The aeroplane moves forwards. Action and reaction, equal and opposite. Gathering motion until the airflow over the wing is moving fast enough to lift us off the ground. To create and sustain thrust, the air must be accelerated by the propeller so that it moves faster than the airflow caused by the forward motion of the aeroplane. We can see this in the smoke tunnel with an electrically driven propeller. At rest, the air flows around it. Switch it on, and the air in front of the propeller is drawn in towards the blades and then accelerated backwards at a speed greater than the forward motion of the aeroplane. It sets up a twisting wash in its wake, just like the propeller of a boat, only a lot faster. Thrust can be varied by controlling the power output of the engine. If we increase thrust, we increase speed, but only up to a point. For as speed increases, so does another force acting on the aeroplane, the force of drag. On days like this, we can see drag at work on any highway. Eddying air swirling behind the moving vehicles, wasting their horsepower and their fuel by holding them back, producing a chaotic pressure pattern like this. Drag can be measured. Take a disk of given area and put it in the mouth of an open wind tunnel. Mount the disk on a sprung slide attached to the indicator arm of a calibrated gauge. The airspeed in the tunnel is measured by an airspeed indicator. Notice first that as the speed increases, so does the drag. In fact, the drag increases as the square of speed. With the airspeed indicator steady at 100 miles an hour, the drag on the disc records a value of 5 on the gauge. If we mount a disc double the area of the first, the drag gauge records a value of 10 at the same airspeed, double the drag. Finally, if we mount a disc only half the area of the first and a quarter of the area of the second, we get a reading of only 2.5 at the same airspeed. So the amount of drag depends on both the frontal area of the disc and on the speed of the airflow. However, aeroplanes nowadays can present very large frontal areas to the airflow and somehow manage to fly around at over 600 miles an hour. So there must be an answer, and there is: streamlining. If we add a bullet-shaped nose to the medium-sized disc, the drag reading at 100 miles an hour is reduced from 5 to just over 1. Add a streamlined tail, and it goes down to less than 1. drag arising from the shape and size of an aeroplane is known as form drag or normal pressure drag. And if the shape is sufficiently streamlined, the size doesn't matter so much. One obvious way of streamlining an aeroplane is to give it retractable landing gear and eliminate struts. The results of cleaning up the form in this way are often worthwhile, both in terms of performance and fuel economy. But if the gear has to be fixed, then the answer is to streamline it along with the rest of the aeroplane. Another kind of drag that also increases with speed is that of skin friction or surface friction. This is caused by molecules of air clinging to the whole surface area and combining with pressure drag to hold the aeroplane back. We experience both these forms of drag in water. As we move about, we can feel the pressure resisting us. And at the same time, the water molecules in contact with our skin tend to move with us and try to pull the surrounding water along with them. Even when we streamline ourselves and apply thrust, we can still feel the water clinging to us as we move. In a stream of air, it's this clinging layer of molecules in contact with objects in its path that tries to move them and carry them away. If we pour a light, easily flowing liquid over the leading edge of an aeroplane's wing and then take off, we can see that as the aeroplane accelerates, the liquid tends to ripple as the molecules in contact with the surface of the wing try to hold on to those immediately above them. As the outer layers gradually let go, we're left with a thin, slow-moving film of liquid at the surface itself. It's this clinging of the so-called boundary layer to the surfaces of the aeroplane that enables the pressure changes around the wing to give us lift. Pressure changes that also produce drag. Lift and drag are thus inseparable, but the drag component can be reduced, both by clean design and by keeping the aeroplane clean and polished, thus increasing its efficiency. A third source of drag increases in inverse proportion to the speed of the aeroplane, at its greatest when the speed is lowest. We call this induced drag, or trailing vortex drag, and it arises from lift. As a result of the pressure difference between the upper and lower surfaces of the wing, air tends to spill over the wingtips from the area of higher pressure below the wing into that of lower pressure above the wing. The two air streams meeting just above the wingtip form vortices, a corkscrew pattern of twisting air that produces a considerable amount of drag. At whatever speed the aeroplane is flying, however, the sum total of drag is equal to the thrust being exerted by the propeller. Water skis can help us to understand this principle. The skis give us lift and drag. The motorboat provides thrust. When the two are accelerating, thrust will be greater than drag, until drag increases as the square of increasing speed and the two forces become equal. They'll remain in equilibrium for as long as the speed remains constant. Then, as speed is reduced, thrust becomes less than drag, and the balance is lost. On an aeroplane flying in steady, level flight, the total drag force is always equal and opposite to the force of thrust, in just the same way as lift exactly equals weight.